What's up, my Vanguard friends? Today I'm going to be showing you guys my Baromagnes deck profile and what I run the deck. This is a BT02 deck profile, and yeah, let's get right into it. Let's start off by talking about Baromagnes. This card is extremely fun to play with. If you want a deck that's relatively cheap, and if you want a multi-attacking deck, this deck is perfect for you actually, because this deck is amazing. Honestly, the supports aren't as good in BT02 as compared to the BT01, but I still find this deck very fun to play regardless. So his skills exactly or similar to Gastille from the class selection that you can activate certain skills if you have certain souls. So let's get over this unit's skill. So when this unit attacks, you counterblast 1, and you can activate all of the following skills according to the number of cards in your soul. So if you have 5 cards or more in your soul, you can draw a card. If you have 10 or more, he gets 10k plus 1 crit until the end of that battle. If you have 15 or more, both my opponent and I put all our rear guards into the soul, and I can choose 2 cards from my soul and call them to the rear guard, and both those units get 10k. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say about Baromagnes, and let's move on to the deck profile. Let's start off with the right lines. So we got that. Everything is hollow, and Baromagnes is just a normal rarity. I wanted to get my hands on the SP version, but I just couldn't find them anywhere near my locals, anywhere near the card shop. Anyways, just the Great One, the Deep Sonicer for that one, for that first soul charge, and you got Electro Sparkin. That when you rode Baromagnes on top of it, you can draw a card. No, you can put a card in your soul, and you can draw a card and soul charge a card. So yeah, when you ride up until Baromagnes with this ride line, you'll always have 6 cards in soul. So if you're a Baromagnes player or you want to build Baromagnes, keep that in mind. So yeah, let's move on to our actual cards in the deck. So for the grade 3s, I run 2 more copies of Baromagnes. I don't really want to run 4 Baromagnes. I don't want to max it out because there's a new order that was added into the newest set that could just help me fetch it back from the soul. So therefore, yeah, I only run 2 copies. And this deck, you gotta sacrifice Persona Ride just to be able to get that 15 soul on your very first grade 3 turn or your second grade 3 turn. So yeah. Second grade 3 is this Pale Moon guy. I'm not really good with names, but his skills, when this unit is placed on the rearguard circle, if my Vanguard's a Baromagnes, I get to soul charge 2 cards, and his other skill is if I have 10 or more cards in soul, I counterblast 2 cards, and throughout the whole turn, my front units get 5k. Keep this in mind that when you pay for the 5k skill, it doesn't give 5k throughout the whole turn. It just gives 5k to the units that are on the board. So if you use Baromagnes' skill to put all the rear guards in soul and call 2 rear guards out, they don't get 5k. So yeah, that's it for the grade 3s. I'm gonna move on to the grade 2s. For grade 2s, I still run 4 copies of Selfish Engraver. This card is just irreplaceable, to be honest. That new double rare that we got for Baromagnes is not really that good. I'm ditching a card for extra 5k and a counter charge. Nah, this card just provides so much more. So her skill is when this unit attack hits, I can soul charge a card, and her other skill is when at the end of the battle, when this unit attacks, if I have 10 or more cards in my soul, I get to put this unit into the soul and counter charge 1. So basically, at the end of her battle, she soul charges and counter charges 1. That's a very good trade-off, honestly. And it's just a rare card, so yeah, this card is not going anywhere unless if I'm not playing Baromagnes. Well, even though when I'm not playing Baromagnes, any decks that just goes up to 10 soul, this card is not going to go anywhere. So yeah, my second grade 2 is the new triple rare. His name's Crimson Expeller, if I remember. Yeah. So what this card does is when this unit attacks a Vanguard, it soul charges 1 card. It's a soul ability. When this unit is in the soul, you get your counterblast 1, soul blast this card out, and you can soul charge a card and choose one of your Vanguards, and it gets 10k. So if your Vanguard is Baromagnes, then you can just counterblast 1, and if this card's in your soul, you can just counterblast 1, discard this, and your Baromagnes gets 10k. So when Baromagnes attacks, and if he has 10 or more souls, you get to have 20k plus 1 crit. That applies a lot of pressure. It forces your opponent to PG. So therefore, yeah, this card is alright, but I wouldn't max it out because or when I maxed this card out, I saw it a little bit too often, and when I attack with this unit, it's a mandatory soul charge. So therefore, yeah, this card, 3 copies probably the perfect ratio for me. And last but not least, I run 2 more copies of Electro Sparkin. I really need that extra 2 cards in soul, just in case if I don't draw into the Pale Moon guy. And yeah, the only downfall to that is that you have to Counter Blast to soul charge 2 cards, but however, it's alright. Baromagnes doesn't really use that much Counter Blast besides the Pale Moon guy's skill. So yeah, that's it for the grade 2s, and I'm gonna go on to the grade 1s. For the grade 1s, I run 4 copies of the new PGs. This PG skill could especially work in Baromagnes decks, because if you're a Baromagnes player, our hand sizes tend to be really less. So therefore, yeah, the PG skill is this: if you have 2 cards or less in your hand, you don't really need to discard anything for that PG. So therefore, yeah, this card is really good, and especially works really well in Baromagnes. The other grade 1 I run is the Deep Sonicers. I run 2 more copies of Deep Sonicer and 3 along the right line. It's because this deck's main objective is to reach 15 soul in my very first grade 3 turn, if I want to. So therefore, if I do want to reach 15 souls early game, I will be using this card. I'll be dragging out this card from the soul if I have any, and it becomes a 28k beater with his own skill. So his skills is during your own turn, if your soul has 10 or more cards, it gets 10k. So yeah, it becomes a 28k beater if you use Baromagnes' skill to drag him out. So yeah, therefore I like to run 2 copies of it along the right line. It's gonna be 3. And last but not least, I run 2 copies of this cute girl. I don't know what's her name, but her skill is at the end when this unit boost hits. If my Vanguard is a Baromagnes, I get a soul charge 1 card, and if my soul has 10 or more cards, I get a Counter Blast 1 and draw 2 cards. So yeah, sometimes if I just don't have enough cards to defend, and I'll be forcing my opponent to guard, this card comes in really handy. And I won't be using her skill as often. That's why I only run 2 copies, because if I use her skill a little bit way too often, then I have a very high chance of decking out, as that's the biggest problem with Baromagnes decks right now. So yeah, that's it for my grade 1s. I'm going to move on to the orders. For the order cards, I run 4 copies of Brother Soul, and I run 3 copies of Abnormality Extraction. Brother Soul, very beautiful card. You play it, you soul charge 2 cards right at your very first grade 1 turn if you have this card in your hand. I like to run 4 copies of it because I value a lot of consistency, so therefore, yeah, I like to be as fast. I like to soul charge 2 cards as fast as possible for me to reach 15 souls during my very first grade 1 turn, the grade 3 turn. And for this card, I only run 3 copies of it because running 4, I just see it way too often. And the reason why I don't really run as many Baromagneses is because I can just use this card and just fetch it back if I need the Baromagnes or some other cards that can help me reach 15 souls in that turn. This card kind of makes your soul a search engine, because this card's skill is when you Counter Blast 1, you discard a card from your hand and you soul charge 3 cards, and if your soul has 10 or more cards, you get to choose a card from your soul and add it to hand. So yeah, it's an amazing card. One of the best cards that came out in this set for Baromagnes. So yeah, I'm gonna move on to the triggers now. For the triggers, I've got 8 crit, 3 of the new fronts because 20k shield OP, and 4 heals and 1 over trigger. I still run the Dark States over trigger because I don't really want to run the starter one. I tried it, but I instantly regretted it. So therefore, yeah, I just really like this that extra 10k plus 1 crit if I check it in early game. So yeah, this card brings a lot of pressure too, alongside with the crit that I have in this deck. And I run the new extra fronts because of the 20k shield and heal. Of course, you gotta run a whole full set of them. So yeah, that's it for the triggers. And there you have it. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my Baromagnes deck profile. If you guys want to see more Overdress related content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I will be uploading more gameplays of Overdress in general. And yeah, stay tuned, stay safe, enjoy Vanguard, and peace. Bye. Attacks your Vanguard, and attack your Vanguard again, and attack with Baromagnes. I Counter Blast 1, I put 2 Vanguards in the soul, and I call 2 cards out from my soul, and they both get 10k. And since Deep Sonicer already gives 10k on its own, so it's gonna be 28k. No guard, first check. Brother Soul, second check. Damn.